Are you ready for the Pats Nation? The only real deal Patriots postgame show. And now, Corso and Catone.
Welcome into the Pats Nation, the only Patriots postgame show worth watching. I'm Corso. Catone is here. Joe is in the booth, and you're watching us live on YouTube, listening live on Podbean. And hey, look, if you miss any of this show, we'll have it up on YouTube. We'll have it up on iHeartRadio, so you can always listen to us later. And hey, if you want to participate, go ahead and give us a call, 855-313-PATS. Joe's got the live chat up and going on YouTube, so we want to hear from you on this one. I'm sure there's a lot of things for people to say out there as Week 11 sees the Patriots host the New York Jets and beat them for the second time this season, 10-3, and that's the 14th win against them in a row. So we're going to get to it all today. We're going to have Mac Mania, our coach's corner, and, of course, our Sunday Stiff and Sunday Seat. Mark, Tech Talk, what'd you think of this one? And Mark's having a little technical issue.
I'm like the Patriots having technical difficulties because let me tell you something. They won the game, but I'm disgusted with what I saw out there today. Absolutely disgusted. And you were playing the Little Sisters of the Poor, and you could barely beat them.
Joe, Mark's back.
That's my favorite line. I love it.
Mark is back. Well, so look, let's get into this thing, and I think we want to definitely start with Mac Mania because there's a few things to talk about with Mac Jones. I know people don't think so, but there definitely is. So, Joe, Mac Mania.
Mac Mania!
23 of 27 for 246 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Now, he sacked 6 times for 48 yards, so his net total was 198 with all the loss. But he threw for 246 yards, spread the ball around to 9 different receivers, including your guy who got benched after fumbling the ball. So, Mark, rate his performance today. How do you think? I mean, there was no offense. I mean, yeah, we're going to get to that in a second.
Chris,
but
he's there's something not right there. He's just off. I think in his reads and his progressions. I mean, and I know you're going to get into this when you talk about, a couple of the sacks that he had during the course of the game. Yeah. But, he's just not where he needs to be. And granted, the offensive line is pitiful. I get that. But he's just not where he needs to be. And also, the personnel that's put on the field, some of the personnel packages, it's just a mess. I mean, but Chris, how would I rate his performance today? I mean, I guess the good thing you can say is he didn't throw a pick. Okay. Yeah. So he didn't put them in a bad situation where, okay, you threw 2 picks and now you're setting the Jets up on a short field or you're giving the Jets the ball back. So he didn't throw any picks. He played with, it was extremely, extremely conservative and I thought even tentative at times, but I don't know, Chris. I mean, what are they giving him to work with?
I don't know. It's hard when I look at his performance, and then I'm thinking back. We don't have the luxury of going back and looking at the film yet. We will, and then Corso Catone next Saturday. I'm sure that we'll talk a little bit about what we saw again because we got to preview. We got to have our Minnesota breakdown. But he was real efficient. I mean, 23 of 27.
He was.
Missed 4 passes. At one point, he was 10 for 10. So in that regard, when he was able to get some time, he found a lot of open guys. Again, decent numbers, 246. No touchdowns. But I attribute that to the fact that every time they got into the red zone, there was a holding call, a block in the back, there was a procedure call, something that put them behind the sticks. And if you listen to us yesterday, they couldn't do that. So for me, I give him like a B plus. I do. The biggest problem that doesn't put me into an A is the fact that he took about 2 to 3 sacks that he shouldn't have. So we're going to get on the offensive line in a second, but Mark, I agree with you 100%. Your observation in the Indy game when you were there is dead on accurate. He's slow. He's a half tick slow getting that ball. The ball's not coming out fast enough.
Yeah.
Why?
Is it? I don't know. Is it the receivers not being where they're supposed to be? Is it? I don't know. He's just not in sync. But on the conversely, it seemed like Zappy was just the opposite. He was getting the ball out quickly, making a quick read, and getting the ball to where the receiver was supposed to be. So, is it Jones? Maybe is it not the receiver? Is it Jones? I don't know.
My problem with comparing these two guys,
Okay.
Zappy and Jones, is I don't think that the play calling is apples to apples.
No, I don't
Because
think it is either. I agree with that.
They were putting route combos together for Zappy that were basic over-under stuff, easy reads that he could get the ball quicker. Why they're not doing that shit for Jones, I don't understand.
I don't know.
It's a little more complicated. They run a lot more spread, a lot more empty looks, things like that. So I'm not sure. I don't understand. But no, I will say, looking at the film from last game, the receivers did have trouble getting into the zone quickly. Now, coming into this game, the Jets run a lot of zone, right?
Absolutely. You said that's all they're running is 3 and 3, 4, right? They're running
3 and 4.
Cover 3, cover 4, right?
Right. And he's one of the worst in the league. And no, you know what? He is the worst in the league percentage-wise against cover 3 and cover 4.
So what do you think the Jets were in today? I mean, they know that.
They were in that all day. They were in
Right,
that all day because they didn't need to bring pressure against him.
Chris, so it's like that old adage, Belichick gives you the blueprint. Well, the blueprint's there now. Anybody that plays the Patriots should be playing cover 3, cover 4. If you know he's that bad, he's the worst in the league.
Yeah.
I mean, my God, what else would you run against him?
Well, you can only do it. You can only do it if you got a front four that can get some pressure. Which, by the way, Chris, nobody in the league.
By the way, you could go get some of those kids. You could go down to 10-year-old football and grab 4 guys that could get by our line.
I'll tell you what, we got a freshman right now. Former NFL player's son.
He could get by those guys.
This dude's legit. Not obviously not on this level, but I feel like this is a Sunday kid someday. But again, yeah, I think there's a lot of teams right now with the way the offensive line is playing that can get to him with 4. So yeah, I expect him to see that cover 3, cover 4 for the rest of the season. Yeah, if the teams they play against have the horses to be able to do it, and Minnesota does, Buffalo does. Okay.
Do you realize how many sacks Buffalo might have against us?
35. They might have like 35.
It could get ugly. But listen, again, the one thing I can say, which was a positive.
Yeah.
He didn't turn the ball over.
Right.
I mean, I understand it was conservative. He was a tick slow. I get all that. But he didn't make any turnovers. He didn't make the real crucial bad decision that may have cost you this game. Because let's face it, it was a 3-3 game pretty much until the end. So he didn't put you in that position. So that's an improvement based on what he was doing earlier in the season, right?
He doesn't trust the play calling. You could see it. He doesn't like the play calling. He doesn't trust the play calling.
No,
He's not comfortable with it. And that's a huge contributing factor to why he gets a lousy grade. But yeah, I mean, you can't take it all off him. But again, I agree with you. The reason why I give him a BB plus today is because he did protect the ball in a real tight game. Times where he got sacked 6 times, you could have coughed the ball up any of those times. You didn't do it. Maybe 1 or 2 of those sacks were okay to take.
But hey, is he right? Is the play calling suck? Should we listen to him and put it in his hands and see if he wins one game? I mean,
who's this, Jones?
Yeah.
Let him call the plays, you mean? Let him be like Steve Grogan?
If he's out there saying these play calls sucks and you can see it on his face, it's like, give him the ball, give him a game. If he wins, then let's listen to him. You know what I mean? Maybe he's right.
Mark, I'd have to believe anybody do a better job than Patricia right now.
No, in all honesty, yeah, I agree too. But you're right. I would probably give him a B. I don't want to say B minus because, like you said, Chris, it was a 3-3 game. He protected the ball, didn't put them in any bad positions. You knew your defense was playing great. And you know what? Play field position. We missed 2 field goals, right? In that weather, in the wind, we missed 2 field goals. So yeah, I would probably give him a B, not because he lit the place on fire, but just because of the type of game it was. He didn't make mistakes.
Yeah, and he was real efficient.
Yeah, I would probably have to agree with that.
Joe's getting a little arrogant now because stepping in for you
Wow.
yesterday.
Joe stepped in for me yesterday.
Yeah.
Now he's calling plays. He's
That's
doing
it.
everything, Joe.
That's
I'm
it.
gonna,
Okay.
I'm gonna shut his camera off. I'm gonna take over, put myself in a
Jesus.
shot over here.
I lost my Saturday spot.
So Mark and I both give him in that range, that BB plus range. Mac Mania was presented by Special Sauce Podcast. What's your special sauce? SpecialSaucePodcast.com. And Mark, looking at the rest of now, let's get to the rest of the offense. And we have a lot to talk about with Coach's Corner too. But if it bleeds over, so what?
Coach's Corner. You might need like 2 shows to do Coach's Corner.
Yeah, I know. Tell me, offensively, what did you see? Let's talk about the players though for a minute. What did you see in the play of these guys?
Well, I don't think Devontae Parker is 100%. That I think that came across. Even a couple of what did he catch? 2 balls today, Chris?
Yeah, he had 2 thrown at him. He caught 2.
Okay, but even his cuts, and he was out there, but he was not 100%. I'll tell you that. Again, Chris, Bourne is on the field in this type of a game today with this weather. You would think he would have been somebody that could have went underneath, caught some balls, did some of that old Julian Edelman stuff, run across the field and make a catch 5 or 6 yards and then run. Not incorporated at all into the offense. That
he got 1 look.
Yeah,
and he caught the 1 ball.
I think not trying to make Bourne run some of those old Julian Edelman routes.
Yep.
That to me is a huge mistake. Aguilar gives you what Aguilar gives you, right? He's not, and Jacoby Myers had a couple of good catches against Sauce Gardner, but overall, Chris, the receivers, nobody's stretching the field except Thornton, but that ball got punched out early in the game by Gardner, and Thornton didn't see the field again until sometime in the second half. I think he ended up catching 1 ball in the second half. But the cement head from 1942 is going to get that garbage out of his head and put the kid on the field, because the kid can at least stretch the field for you and open up that underneath.
Yeah,
Jonnu Smith, Chris, can I ask you a question? He played better today, but what was that fumble? What?
Yeah, it looked like he was trying to change hands, like to get the ball into the outside arm, which is good. That's what you're supposed to do.
You're
my God, it looked like he had some butter in his hands.
Jesus.
Trying to
but
give
Chris,
it back.
The receivers, I would give I wouldn't rate the receivers very highly today. Would you?
The percentage was good. I mean, they caught the balls that were thrown at them.
They
but
did. But
Ramondre Stevenson was look, Mark, to your point, Stevenson was the leading catcher. He had 6 targets, 6 receptions, 56 yards. When you go down this list and you look at Myers, 6 targets, 4 receptions, 4 for 4 for Smith. But here's what the telling thing, and to your point, it is 56 yards total. The average, 9 yards, 13, 10, 14, 20. The longs were 18 yards, 20 yards. 26 was the longest reception there was. And that was Jonnu Smith. And that was not a throw downfield. That was a short throw, and he ran with the ball. So there was a lot of catch and runs today when the receivers
and
caught
I'm
the
not
ball.
saying, Chris, that today was the type of day, weather-wise, where you could make a lot of throws deep. But
not down the field because of the
wind.
Not
down the field. But hey, you're at the 40-yard. You were at midfield a couple of times. You were at the jet 40 a couple of times. You couldn't have tried to run something where maybe Thornton goes long and you could try to throw the ball to him, or at least make the appearance that you're gonna listen. If you're gonna try to open up the underneath, Chris, you at least have to make the appearance that you have some sort of downfield passing game with Thornton. I don't care if Belichick doesn't have any trust in him yet. I don't give a shit. Send him deep, throw one up to him. I don't care if it's caught, not caught, tapped, picked, whatever. But you have to give the appearance at some point, Chris, that's in your offense. And they haven't. I don't think they've done it with this kid once all season.
No, I know they're not taking
a little bit
in the
Cleveland game, but Jesus, send him deep, throw the ball up, and see if he runs by somebody. I don't know, but you can at least give the appearance.
Yeah, so I mean, the receivers, I don't think underneath stuff are doing a good enough job getting in the middle of those zones, getting themselves open that way. But I also think the play calling sucks. I think it's predictable, and we're going to get to that in a second. But But when you flip to, but again, efficient passing game today.
Yes. Yes.
And they did get the ball into the red zone some or close to it, 30, 35 yards, something like that. But looking at the running game, so they were 100 yards today. Harris had 65 yards off 8 carries, so he averaged 8 yards a carry, which was really good. Stevenson, 15 carries for 26 yards. He only averaged 1.5. But Mark, he did his damage in the passing game, you know. Mark,
and Chris,
yesterday,
you made a statement during the game, and you said he's the MVP of this team. He offensively, he keeps bailing us out, and that was a dead on great observation, because when you really think about it, he really has, Chris.
Those third down plays are give ups. They were giving up those third downs to punt the ball, and he's breaking tackles. He's spinning out. He's coming down. He's getting the first downs where they shouldn't be getting first downs. And so I thought the running game was good. But yesterday on the show, I talked about the keys to victory. What are some of the things they needed to do coming out of the break or going into the bye? And one of the things was get out of zone running and get into gap running. They attempt the most zone runs or at the top of the league, and they're the worst in the league at success. Yet their gap runs, they're the most successful. They're number 1 in the league in successful gap running. Mark, like today, that was indicative. You saw that today. Zone runs, especially in that 4th and 3 friggin' wide zone run where you got stopped for a loss. Anytime they ran the ball in gaps. They put Jonnu Smith in the backfield as a fullback today. Anytime they did those kind of things, pulled, kicked out, they had success running the ball. When they went away from it, no good.
And I know you didn't agree with that 4th and 3 call. You wanted to pin them deep because your defense was playing so good. Pin them deep. Maybe you get a turnover, maybe something, whatever. And I understand that. But I thought, go for it, because, listen, you're at home. Try to get the offense a spot, get some confidence going. Let's roll. But Jesus Christ, I didn't think they were going to call that play. Oh my God!
Well, see, this is
the
why.
Best you could come up with.
Yeah, see, that's the whole thing. That's the reason why I wanted to punt. Not because you shouldn't be going for it there, but with the offensive coaching we have on this team and the offensive line, no, the hell with that. And now let's get to it, because I want to put the offensive line and Patricia and the coaching, they're part and parcel right now. Because to me, when I look at what the issues were in order, I look at play calling, offensive line, and then Mac Jones.
How many sacks did they give up, the line?
6. Again, they gave up 6 sacks 3 weeks ago to the Jets. 6 sacks again. And once
you
again,
played the Jets,
and
the Jets have 12 sacks against you in 2 games. The Jets have sacked you 12 times.
And 2 losses, too. The Jets defense must want to strangle Wilson over there.
God.
You know what I mean? But, Mark, they still know the play. They still appear, Mosley was calling out the plays last time they played, and it doesn't look like it got any different.
Nah.
They're so damn predictable. He really isn't putting his offensive line in a good spot at all. I'm not giving them an out, but they're not putting their offensive line. They're too damn predictable, and they're too basic in the shit they're running. I mean, you tell me what you saw with that offensive line today. And Chris, by the way, Wynn went out hurt.
Wynn went out. I think they said he hurt his foot.
Andrews went out hurt, and I don't know if you know this, but Brown was benched. Brown didn't start this game.
He was, and then he came back. Yeah, he was benched. But Andrews, Chris, doesn't look like he'll be ready Thursday, because he couldn't have put any pressure on his leg, whatever it was. You said they said it was a thigh.
They said thigh, but CB, those commentators, I don't even know if they're alive.
That guy, one of those guys, every time the ball was thrown, he had the wrong receiver. Oh, there's a pass to Mims. It wasn't Mims. There's a pass to Parker. It wasn't Parker. Like, he didn't even know who was catching the ball for either team. I don't even know where they got those guys from. That was like weekend at Bernie's. He was in the chair. Somebody was waving his hand like this, for Christ's sakes. For those of you on the podcast, I'm shaking my head.
Well, CBS, CORSO CATONE, we're waiting for the call. We're waiting in the wings for the call.
He looked like that guy.
Where did they get those guys?
He looked like that guy sitting next to Kraft. There was a guy sitting next to Kraft on his left. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? Both of them looked like they thought they were in the Meadowlands, not even home. But
oh my God! But Chris, the offensive line, it was bad. I mean, listen, how not only was it bad, Chris, in regards to you couldn't pass protect with the 6 sacks, but the penalties, Chris. The
Well, and that's
penalties
the thing.
is the issue. Talk a little bit about the penalties.
Well, and I'm pulling up the team stats as we speak. Mark, one of the keys to yesterday, again, one of the things I said, keys to victory again was, and I need to see these penalties because I'm so disgusted. 8 penalties for 55 yards, okay?
But it's where the penalties are, Chris, and when.
I said yesterday, one of the keys to victory is you can't play behind the sticks, meaning you can't have a penalty where it takes you plus 10, first and 15, first and 20. And that's the crap that was happening all day. They'd get the ball down to the 30-yard line, somewhere in there, 30, 35, 40 plus side of on the Jet side of the field. Then, boom, you could count on it. There would be a holding call. There would be a procedure penalty, a false start, then followed up with a sack. They had a play that went down to the 20-yard line, 15-yard line. They ended up that was the drive, I think, that they had to go for it on 4th and 3 from like the 40 because they ended up with a holding call. Then they ended up with a sack in a row, 20 yards. I don't know. I don't understand it. I don't get it. Because, I mean, you got guys like Kajust out there who sucks.
Oh, Chris, he was blown. They blew by him more times in not only in the passing game, but in the running game. And Ferentz got blown. Williams blew by him numerous times. You know, it's just if Andrews is going to be out for an extended period of time, that's a problem. That's a problem.
And without, and Cole Strange, without Andrews on that field,
Strange is a different player. Yeah, he's a different player.
He's a completely, because the communication from Perens, whatever's going on with communication and setting the protection sucks. It's terrible going across the line.
By the way, Chris,
nothing about the tackles.
Let me ask you a question now. I know we're bringing up the offensive line. Who refresh the viewers over here a little bit. Who's the offensive line coach?
Yeah, the bearded fool on the sideline with that little circle thing, the old logo on his friggin' hat over there, that's staring at his goddamn play sheet like this, staring at his play sheet like something's going to jump off the page to give him some enlightenment that he needs to go back up into the stand somewhere and watch football and start going to coach Pee Wee football because he sucks, Mark. Matt Patricia sucks, okay? He sucks, and Belichick sucks worse for putting him there, okay? I'm not waiting for Coach's Corner. You guys, you talk about it because I'm disgusted with this.
No, but Chris, I mean, come on. But the offensive line, it's you know what though? It's not even that they're playing bad. It's like they're getting worse by the week, Chris. Typically, you would think, okay, listen, they had some moving pieces. They got some new guys. You know, and as the year goes on, typically, a Patriot offensive line. Now, I know. I'm going back to the Skarnecki days, so that's a problem. But they used to start to play better and get into their groove. And by this time of the season, they were the offensive line you could count on. This team, the offensive line is regressing, and it's getting worse week by week by week. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. And you have no solution for that because who you got Kajust, who you bringing in? You got nobody that's going to come into the offensive line and help you.
And now that Andrews looks like he's going to be out for a while, probably.
And the slouch, I'm not saying he's any good, but he still gives you some depth. Win, he's out. Whenever Win goes off the field, you don't see him for a couple of weeks.
Oh, it was too cold for Win today. That's why. It was too cold for Win. He couldn't handle it. So, he went out of the game. And then Trent Brown had to come in, but he was benched. So they must look, it's a mess. It's an absolute mess. The
offensive line is an absolute mess. A mess.
It's a mess. And then, it's a mess from the coach down. So that's why I'm saying you take them part and parcel. You put the coach in with the offensive line, and it's just an absolute disgrace because not only don't they have enough talent on the offensive front, they're not being put in positions to succeed by the friggin'. Look, we talked about it yesterday. You got to win first down, and they didn't win first down.
So, Chris, let me ask you a question. So from an offensive standpoint, so this is the offensive line you got. You know what their deficiencies are. Mm-hmm. So what should you be play calling early in downs to put this team in this offense in the best position to succeed based on the skill set of this offensive line, which we've already established is bad, right? But knowing that, what can you do offensively early in downs to try to put the line in the best situation to succeed?
to get yourself into 2nd and 5 and then 3rd down and short where your running game is now in play, the gap runs. First of all, there should be no more inside or outside zone runs. I hate them. They shouldn't do it. Throw them out the door. Okay? It should be gap style running. Get a fullback in the backfield. That puts them in the best position.
By the way, do we have one on the roster?
No, they're using the tight end because they're too stupid to sign Jacob Jones there. Jacob Jones, whatever his name was over there. Jacob, what was his name?
Jacob Johnson.
Look, on 1st down, you got to be more creative now. They're not protecting Mac Jones, so it isn't like you can play action on 1st down, because they're not running the ball effectively on 1st down in order to get that done. So you can't play action, but you also can't protect them. So why not a bubble? Get the bubble out to the outside. Let's get 3 or 4 yards. 5 yards on 1st down. Let's run a couple times. They ran a wide receiver screen to Jacoby Myers, which worked on 1st down, and that gave success.
Listen, that's one of my pet peeves, but that's one of my pet peeves.
Using him to do it.
Why isn't you trying to do that with Thornton?
Or Bourne.
They did that. They used Bourne. McDaniels used Bourne in that way last year, but I'm not going to get into that at this point.
So again, the offense was atrocious today.
So Chris, there are things they can do to put the offensive line in a better position early in downs.
Absolutely, and the more you do that at the beginning of the game, where you mix it up a little bit, run some different things at them and different looks, some different types of motion. The more you do that on 1st down, the better chance you have later in game to run the ball out effectively on 1st down. But you got to put yourself in 2nd and 5s. 2nd and 6, 3rd and 3s. That's where you need to be with this team. But it makes no difference anyway, because when they call and plays, we'll get to it in coach's corner. We will. So offensively, they were a mess today. They continue to be a mess. They did nothing in the bye week to improve anything. So this portion of Pat's Nation was presented by Special Sauce Podcast. What's your special sauce? SpecialSaucePodcast.com. Hey, listen, on the other side, maybe we can get a little happier now because we're going to talk defense right after this.
It's the Special Sauce Podcast. You like the sauce? The sauce is good, man. Tune in to Special Sauce Podcast wherever you podcast. What's your special sauce? Now back to the Patriots.
10-3, the final score. The Patriots beat the Jets to improve to 6-4. Now they're both tied to 6-4. That division is all locked up, and once again, Buffalo pulled away, but they didn't look as good today as that's another team. But we'll get to that.
But they at least found a way to win.
Yeah, they won the game, but you're playing a team that. I mean,
they'll roll against us. Don't you worry about that.
So getting over to the defensive side of the ball, Mark. Zach Wilson was 9 of 22. So right there, we talked about it yesterday, Joe and I, that they weren't. Joe, we talked about this, right? They were not going to allow him to throw the ball 40 times again. We knew that coming in, that Saleh wasn't going to allow that to happen, especially now in this kind of weather. So he was 9 of 22 for 77 yards, but he got sacked 4 times for 33. So his net was 44. But again, 77 yards. They ran the ball for 59 yards. So talk about this defense, Mark.
The defense, Chris, is playing really well. They're getting pressure on the outside. The speed is finally showing up on the edges. Judon is leading the NFL in sacks. He's having a great year.
13 now.
And if you can manage him and allow him to continue to come off the edge like that, it's going to be a huge help down the stretch against some of these teams you're playing. And on the other side, again, Uche, Chris, who doesn't necessarily get the sack, is forcing the pocket. But the guy who had a great game today, and he's had the best year of his career, and I know you weren't not a fan of his, is Wise. Dietrich Wise, Chris, is playing like a Pro Bowler. He really is. Yeah. I have to give him credit for that because Bondmore's on IR. Bondmore gave you nothing all year, and that was Bondmore's problem in college, that he was always injured. So who knows if his rookie year was an aberration? I don't know. But Dietrich Wise is giving you something, Chris, that none of us expected. None of us.
Yeah, he's playing well, and he's playing well when he has to kick into the center too. When he's not
really
playing
is.
end,
Really
and
is.
Uche comes up and replaces him on the outside. He's plugging gaps. He's getting into the backfield. Yeah,
Playing
Mark,
good
the front
football.
played really, really well. And there are some people out there that are breathing a little bit of sigh of relief. Last year, coming out of the break, coming out of the bye, Judon, that's when he went into his nosedive.
Yes, he
Okay,
did.
but today
he
he
did.
got after it. You saw what they did with him today. They tried like hell to double him, to chip him, to do whatever they had to do to keep him, to control him. And they really weren't able to do it. And what that did, his presence freed up guys like Uche,
and not that I want to jump ahead, but the way the defensive line and the edges have played, Chris, is going to actually help you Thursday night because Cousins can't run around like Wilson ran out a couple of times out of the back end to prevent getting sacked.
Yep.
Cousins is going to be more of a sitting target. So you could potentially have a big night sack-wise Thursday night. Let's hope. But anyway, getting back to today, the defense, the line, Chris, it was stellar. I give them an A. I mean, we've given them an A several times this year, but the defense, even Garchow and Guy and the combination of guys.
Oh, you couldn't run the ball. You could
not run the ball today against them.
Mark, they had 103 total yards. Yards.
At one point, Chris, in the second half, they were -8 yardage, -8 at one point. It was like, and it was like early fourth quarter, late third quarter, early fourth quarter. They were -8.
And we were getting pissed off. We were getting pissed off when they allowed anything. When they allowed anything downfield. Because you know what? We'll get to the secondary in a second. But like that defensive front and even the linebacker, look, they couldn't run the ball.
Listen, I'm going to say something to you. I'm going to say something to you.
Yeah, he had 9 tackles, 8 of them solo. Shut up.
Juwan Bentley actually didn't play bad today. Half bad.
He had 9 tackles, 8 solo. No, he did. He played well.
He didn't play bad today.
I got nervous in the first drive because he and Langley were on the left side of the field when he threw back across and he was late getting over. I'm like, here we go.
There we go.
But no, he had 9 tackles.
He didn't play bad. He didn't play bad. I mean,
So yeah, the front played really, really well today. They did. I mean, you're gonna go every level played well. The front played well. I thought McMillan played really well. I thought Wilson played well today. When you get to the linebackers, yeah, and you're right. I got to give it up. Bentley played. He played well today. You couldn't run the ball. There wasn't much open in the middle of the field. They controlled that tight end, and Duggar had a fantastic game today.
Yeah,
he
Duggar
really did.
He almost had a pick. Duggar played well. Duggar was in on all kind of plays. Listen, the only guy, Chris, in that secondary who I have to call out and say did not play well was again who? Who was it again?
As usual, your best friend Miles Bryant.
Why is he on the damn field?
I don't know. Any success Wilson had downfield at all was against him. I mean, they were playing man. Look, the Patriots played a lot of man coverage today, as they've been doing all season long. And they're trusting these guys to play man, most of them.
Chris, there was one play. Tell me about that play. Jack Jones was running. He was in front of Mims going down the field. Now, as someone who teaches corners, what happened there where Mims ends up, yes, the ball's thrown behind him. Mims makes the catch, but was Jones in the right position there?
So yeah, and you're talking about that play where it was underthrown
off the sideline,
the sideline on there.
Was Jack Jones in the right position? Was he?
Yeah, I think he got ahead of him. I think he got ahead of him a little bit. He outran him. He looked like he was trying to run the route for him, which is okay to do because now you realize it's a go route. What you expect is the quarterback to get it out over the top. You don't know that Wilson's going to suck that bad and underthrow. That wasn't intentional. Look, for anyone out there,
the wind must have knocked that ball down. I think.
So I think it's a matter of understanding the situation better, understanding the conditions.
Okay.
If he understood the conditions instead of playing ahead of him, he would have been more in phase next to him.
Okay.
And I thought that you risked the PI, but no, I mean I thought he played it okay. It was a lucky play by them because it was it was underthrown. I didn't have a problem with the way he played. I had a problem with the way Miles Bryant couldn't cover in man. It's so lackadaisical. That's the thing. I mean, they had to throw down the field that the dude was open and he was maybe 3 steps away. He comes out of his break and it looks like his strides are too long, Mark, where he gets caught in between steps. and it kind of looks like he's just lagging behind, not
Yeah,
getting
exactly. That's always, Chris. That's always. And what's causing that?
It's footwork. It's all about footwork for a corner. That's it. You know, his footwork, his strides are too long. It's almost like he's a friggin' sprint runner. And I'll go back and look at the film, but that's what it looks like to me. So now when he tries to quick step and come lateral, he can't do it like Jack Jones did against Detroit when nobody wanted to give him credit for it. You know? So that's the problem.
And McCourty, you know, the ball hit him in the chest.
Catch the ball. Right? Holy crap. You got to catch that ball. Especially
but
today.
McCourty didn't have too much action today, Chris. I don't think the way the game shaped up. You know, he didn't have much involvement today.
No, though, but the coverage was good. Couple of those pressures were also good coverage, and they did play some cover one where you had McCourty sit in center field over the top, and you had a lot of man underneath it. But go ahead.
Not Jack Jones, Jonathan Jones. Let's talk about him for a second. We're talking about the secondary. So.
Another good game.
At the end, he misses the pick. You and I thought that was going to come back and haunt him. You were screaming, come on, you got to make that play. And he really should have as a corner at the end of the game against a good team. I mean, you're playing the Little Sisters of the Poor, but against a good team. I said that just for Joe. Joe likes it. Listen.
Love it.
But if you're playing a good team, that's going to haunt you, Chris. You don't make that pick, though, right?
It is, and you said it.
And then in the next play, he's got a holding penalty.
Yeah, and then he gets a holding call. Listen, and it was a little, but you know what? I thought it was a ticky-tack. But
it was.
Look, Mark said it before that drive began for the Jets. He said, you know what? The New England's going to have to get a turn. The defense is going to have to score if the defense is going to have to score in order for us to win this game. Otherwise, I said it's going to end in a tie. This game's going to end in a friggin' tie. Watch. It's going to be 3-3, and I'm going to want to friggin' everyone. Kid, please.
And listen, if Jonathan Jones, Chris, so he doesn't make the pick, right? But, and you would be able to explain this better than me, but if he just drives to the ball better, it's probably a pick six. It's not even a question of, he dropped the pick. It actually, based on the throw, should have been a pick six, right?
Well, I think in that situation, and I got to go back and look at the down and distance, but I thought the down and distance was a little long. I thought it was a long yardage situation, so I don't mind so much that he was playing that extra step off. Therefore, your trigger step forward is going to be a little bit late because you figure I'm going to protecting. I'm going to stop this. You know, we're good. We're playing good on third down. You know, let me make the tackle versus. Okay.
But he still should have made the pick.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna make that play. McCourty's was worse, but especially in a game like this, when the game like this where your offense can't do anything, you know, the defense is gonna have to get it done. And it turned out at the end of the day, Mark, special teams played well. Yep. The punter was better than Bailey. The new punter was better than Bailey.
Jesus. But listen, we're nitpicking. We're talking about plays that could have been made, should have been, in the secondary, but we're nitpicking.
Defense played good,
I mean, the defense played phenomenal today, Chris, right? I mean, we're really, really nitpicking today.
Yeah. We definitely are. And they played well up every level. Every level played well. And quickly talking about special teams. Mark, we said it right before it happened.
What did I say to you earlier? Like 6-7 minutes early, I said, you know what, Chris? We talk about coaching and the goddamn special teams. I can't say what I really said. I said, gets a pass. This is the worst we've looked special teams wise. I said, Jones can never get a lane to run anywhere. The guy's got all the speed, and we can't do anything to get him to break free and get a significant yardage on a punt. And Chris is like, but they got this effing stiff back there, Bryant. And then we find out Jones had to get retaped. So that's why.
His ankle.
He was out for a couple.
I thought he was in the bathroom or something. I thought he was having a stomach problem. Get on the field.
Just before the kick. And this is no lie, you know we're the real deal. Chris says, man, he's gonna run a goddamn punt back. We need a big return.
So the way we're gonna win this game.
He said we need a big return. He's thinking a big return to set us up for a field goal.
I didn't think he was gonna bring it back.
He's not thinking he's going all the way back with it.
And here he goes. And I'm screaming at the time, like, and we got away with a block in the back by Wilson.
Oh, that you would have went bananas if they threw that
these
flag.
TVs in the back, they would have all been broken. All
that was
bananas.
karma for the the punt that they got called for way at the beginning of the first quarter that they got called.
Yeah.
For rough,
Yeah.
they get called for roughing the kicker or something like that.
Oh my God, that sequence. There was like 4 punts.
Oh, that was awful.
Take the
You're right,
Belichick,
Joe.
take
That
the
was awful,
goddamn
Joe.
yards.
Yeah.
You know, take the penalty and take the yards. Well, because he was playing the win.
Chris,
that's why.
But Chris, Jones, you and I have said all year, this is what you drafted him to do. This is what he did in college. The special teams, really, in all honesty, yeah, won the game today. Special teams won the game.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a guy, Chris, that has the capability every game of breaking something, not necessarily for a touchdown, but 30, 40. You know, he should be able to get you yards in the punt game. But your special teams isn't that type of a special teams this year.
Well, and they're starting to get better. They are. I mean, you can't hang Folk today because the conditions were what they were. It wasn't his look. They were set up to kick a chip shot, and then they had a holding call, and then they got
sacked. Yeah.
You know, and then he missed the field goal. So again, Mark, because we want to get the coach's corner. Your grade for the defense.
A+.
Yeah, same here. A+. You can't play better than that. I don't want to hear anybody this week say it's the Jets. It's the Jets. Hey, the Jets came in 6-4. Okay, it's whatever it was 6-3.
Listen, they've won 6 games. How they've won 6 games, I don't know.
And they beat Buffalo.
They beat Buffalo. So listen, the Jets do something against other teams, and our defense just plays really well against them. You got to give them an A+.
The defense is coming on. They're coming on. If we don't have to play a running quarterback, they play great.
Listen,
great. So we
that
both
damn game that you're going to in Arizona, where it's going to be a game that's going to drive us crazy because he stinks as a quarterback.
Well,
but he's going to run all over the place if he's back. If he's back, he's going to run all over the place.
Well, Kingsbury really doesn't want to put him in there. He really doesn't want to.
No, he doesn't.
Against us, if you watch the Baltimore film and you watch the Chicago film, you got to put him in there. So this defensive breakdown was presented by CORSO Law Group, Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. CORSOLawGroup.com. Allow us to be voice. Okay, buckle up. It's going to sound like a Catone's comments, but when we come back, we're going to have Coach's Corner right after this.
It's that time again for a timeout for a message from one of our sponsors. No one ever thinks they will be in the need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. CORSO Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Their 20-plus years experience and attention to detail has helped thousands of people all across this great country who found themselves in a situation in Arizona. So whether it's a traffic ticket or if you need reduced DUI or more serious issues, call or go online to CORSOLawGroup.com and talk with these expert attorneys who I know will help you. CORSO Law Group.
Back in with more Pats Nation, the only Patriots post-game show worth watching. And Mark, we got to check on that Dallas Minnesota game. Hey, that's
an interesting. Yeah, I know.
Joe, that was my lock of the week, wasn't it?
Yeah, my lock went down. They went down. Giants went down.
The Giants was his. I didn't have a good day today. We didn't help people. Yeah, but because I didn't have you all.
That happens. That's why it's gambling.
You can make up anything and say it was your lock of the week.
Yeah,
but I did give the people Buffalo. Okay, so
my lock of the week, Chris, would have been Minnesota. Honestly,
so
that would have been my lock.
Well, let's get to what everybody wants to talk about, and that's Coach's Corner, and that's right now, Joe.
Coach's Corner.
So listen, can we both agree the defensive side of the ball, A+, especially with Belichick having no influence in that side?
Well, Chris, I think the telling point is everyone, I listen, he obviously he has input during the week in game planning. We understand that. But game day, Mac Jones goes to the sidelines. He's with Belichick now, talking to Belichick. Patricia's not even there today. We saw that a couple of times, and you brought that up, Chris. But that also means, Chris, that Belichick has totally gave that defense to Mayo and to the Sun. And they're doing a pretty damn good job of it right now.
So, I mean, there's not a hell of a lot to talk about there. The coach did a nice job. The game plan was good. The pressure packages were good. They did a nice job, and they're progressively doing better and better.
And you know what's funny, Chris? I've brought up several times this year, the personnel grouping on the offensive side of the ball is atrocious. But defensively, they're getting better and better at the personnel groupings and playing to whose strength and who should be on the field at what times, other than Miles Bryant. And I still don't understand why he's there. But other than Miles Bryant, Chris, the defensive coaching has really gotten better at the personnel groupings and who should be out there and when. Offense, it's atrocious.
Yeah, and it's at the linebacker position where you're seeing that. They're using Wilson. They're bringing Wilson into the game and McMillan into the game in the spots they should be in the situation. They're coaching situationally.
But something you were talking about for weeks. Why aren't these guys on the field in those situations? And now they are.
So a lot of situational good footballs happen on the defensive side of the ball. Yeah. Now, Mark, as good as that is, okay, you begin.
Okay, listen. First of all, so
I've already started screaming. I can't even.
So personnel grouping. I mean that was the beginning of the game. I think it was the second drive of the game. And you've got nobody out there that's going to make a play. Hawk is on the bench. Bourne's on the bench. Like Thornton was on the bench. How are you on a third down and might have been 3rd and 9, 3rd and 11. You got Thornton, Parker, and Bourne on the bench. What are you doing? How are you even think you're going to make that? And they're throwing the ball, Chris.
Yeah. And you're basically saying, this is what you're saying. You're saying, hey, and by the way, the Jets once again knew. They predicted it. They could see it coming. You know what? It isn't rocket science, dude. You don't have those three guys. You don't have those receivers on the field. Guess what's coming on a third?
But you're throwing the ball.
Guess what's coming on a 3rd and long? It's a throw out of the backfield. It's a short give-up throw, and hopefully you can get some more yards off it. Shit, I can see that, and I'm a moron, and I could see that coming. I have no NFL training. So it's
bad. It's bad.
I mean, I don't even know where to begin to talk about the deficiencies in the offensive coaching. You're talking about personnel. How about play calling? This guy has no freaking clue, does he? He really doesn't know.
So, Chris, on first down, one of the first downs, I think one of the running backs picks up like 5 yards. It's 2nd and 5. And you're like, okay, play action here. They run.
Inside zone run.
There you go.
For a loss. So even when the play call was good, you had a penalty or you had some sort of friggin' procedure issue. Okay. But yeah, I mean, talk about the 4th and 3.
The 4th and 3,
zone
Chris,
wide run.
I agreed with going for it. I did. I just thought, listen, you got to do something to get this offense rolling. Your defense is playing so damn good. Even if you don't make it, that's okay. The Jets aren't going anywhere. But Jesus Christ, what the hell was that, Chris? That's all you could come up with?
You know, they were so.
And that's why you said punt the goddamn ball, because you said I don't have any trust at all in them.
None. But I'm asking the guy that put these people in place to do the smart thing and punt the ball. That'd be like, that's an admission that I screwed up, which he'll never do. He'll never do, Big Bill. He'll never sit there and own that. But you know what? All this crap, everybody, for the last Jets game, the Indy game, where these guys were calling out the plays, okay? And they were all apologists all week for it, saying, well, when you play a team enough, Lombardi, that the Bill Belichick apologist.
Oh, that's bullshit.
When you play a team enough, they get to know what y'all, you know what? Screw that. No, when you take personnel and you screw up, like Mark pointed out, and you can tell full well what they're doing. Look, I don't know. Put it on Patricia, because the offensive line sucks too. This is a dude that should be fired right now. His
tomorrow morning he should be fired. The fat ass should be fired tomorrow morning. The fat ass.
They should be taking away all his responsibilities. I don't know who you give it to. No, you give it to the tight ends coach. Let him call the plays from now on. This is atrocious. It isn't even. It's
but
wrong.
Chris,
and this is coming out of a bye.
And we're beating up on Patricia, right? But you know what? What about Bill? Bill, you love to give Belichick a pass. You love to give Belichick a pass. The game has passed them by. Why don't you just put the goddamn leather helmets on and let him run the ball 63 times with the leather helmets, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, because that's what he's stuck with.
And the wrong type of running too.
The wrong type of run. You really want me to go crazy. And you got the guy upstairs in the owner's box. He's sitting there. He's having a pretzel. He's drooling on himself. He don't even know what's going on anymore.
Listen, I'm laughing, but this is no laughing matter, Patriots fans. I don't know how the hell this team's 6-4 right now. You know, in that Green Bay overtime game, they could very easily be 7-3.
Chris, again, but the Green Bay overtime game, Chris, why did they lose that play calling?
That's on coaching.
On coaching.
Meanwhile, you're ruining this quarterback. He has no confidence in anything that's going on. Okay. No. Look, the coaching sucks on the offensive side of the ball, period. The play calling sucks. It's predictable. F. If there's a Z, I want to give him a Z. Is there a Z, Joe, for a grade? Can you give somebody a Z?
I think that's negative.
But Chris, let me ask you a question. How is it that Hunter Henry was so involved in this offense last year? Did he even catch a ball today? Did they even throw to him today?
He caught one.
Did he catch one?
1 for 1. Yeah, and he ran down the sideline a little bit. But yeah, he caught the ball. He did. He caught a ball today. Hey, one for 20 yards. So
okay,
but it's still they still only threw the ball. Look, they still only threw the ball to the tight ends 5 times total.
And
they put him in the backfield.
You're spending how much money on tight ends?
Listen, their big thing today, their big scheme today, and let's throw them off was to put Hunter Henry to put a split backfield with Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith. Okay, with the running back behind them, and you didn't know which lead it was going to be. Was it going to be left with Henry? Was it going to be right with John? That's it. That was their big thing today. That was Patricia's big thing. Disgusting, pitiful, pathetic. Enough. And this is coming out of a bye week. So I think everybody understands what we feel.
Chris, coming out of a bye week, it's even worse. It's even worse of a performance than it is because it's coming out of a bye week.
Oh, it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. So Coach's Corner was presented by Studio 42 Designs. For all your graphic design needs, studio42designs.com. And listen, we'll get to our Sunday Stiff right now and our Sunday Seat. And I want to leave a little time, Mark, so we could talk about that Minnesota game coming up on Thursday night. So, Joe, let's have it. Sunday Stiff. As always, Mark, I defer to you.
My Sunday Stiff is the goddamn coaching staff on offense. Matt Patricia, Bill Belichick, whoever's calling the goddamn plays on the offensive side of the ball is my Sunday Stiff. Patricia and Belichick, you're my Sunday Stiff without question because the play calling stinks. The personnel grouping stinks. It was a disgusting performance by the offense. And granted, based on what you gave him, Mac Jones didn't play bad. Based on what you gave him. My Sunday Stiff is the offensive coaching staff.
For me, if you're going to go there, I got to go offensive line because they're part and parcel of each other. The offensive line.
You've been on that offensive line since training camp.
They sucked. And before Andrews went out of the game, it wasn't that much better. Okay? It wasn't that much better. So they suck. Go across the board. Brown, Wynn, Owinu, Kajust.
And you know what, Chris? They keep putting this. They got nobody else to go in. When Andrews gets hurt, they put this poor kid Ferentz in. He's oh my God, the poor kid's doing the best he could. He was really overmatched today. That kid Williams was treating him like a rag doll.
The communication stinks on the offensive line. The communication between Mac Jones and his offensive line stinks. I can't tell sometimes if it's a line issue, if it's a protection issue, if it's a call, if it's if it's Mac Jones not setting up I don't know. All I know is this offensive line sucks. They've given up in the last 3 weeks, Mark. Hold on. They gave up 17 sacks in 3 games. 17 sacks.
So you brought up a point that we don't have time to get into, but I want to get into it on Saturday. Jones setting them up. Can Jones do something from the quarterback position to put them in a better position, calling out different protections, perhaps? That's something I want to get into on Saturday. I'm glad you brought that up.
At times, but here's the thing. He's going to have time on the play clock to do that, and that means shithead's got to get the play in better and more time.
Don't you love they come out of an end of the quarter timeout, they get to the line, and they call a timeout. Are you effing kidding me?
Yeah, it's disgusting. So those are our Sunday Stiffs. Mark, Sunday seat for you.
My
the guy
Sunday
that can
seat,
sit with
my
us and eat
Sunday
today.
seat, Chris, I think is going to have to be the same guy as you. Usually we try to pick somebody different, but based on the performance today and what we saw, Marcus Jones is going to be my Sunday seat. Yours,
I'll
I'm
tell you
assuming?
what. No, for me, I'm gonna
No?
actually go. I'm gonna actually go. I'm gonna actually go Duggar on this. He
Oh,
had
all
like
right.
seven. It's like 7 solo tackles. He had a sack, couple for a loss. I thought he played really, really well today. So I'm gonna go Duggar because
That's a good pick because he did play well. He really did. The whole defense played well. But yeah, I'm going to go Marcus Jones.
Absolutely. So our Sunday stiff and Sunday seat was presented. Where are we, Joe? Was presented by Special Sauce Podcast.
Yeah,
What's your
Corso Law
special
Group.
sauce? Special is it Corso Law Group? All right. Well, you know what? Corso Law Group, Special Sauce Podcast. Pick one. It's
They're
all
our
by
favorite.
them. So
They're our favorites. They're our sponsors. Take one. They sponsor it
So
all.
before we got to go, they're going to be playing this Thursday night, Thanksgiving night, playing against Minnesota, who I'll tell you what, you better hope that Minnesota wins this game today because the odds of them losing 2 games in a row at home,
Very slim.
Slim to none. Mark, how do you see this thing going Thursday night?
The only shot you have, Chris, is if your defense really comes out to play. Like I said, because Cousins isn't the most mobile of quarterbacks, your defense is going to have to come out, have 6, 7, 8 sacks, and really dominate on the defense side of the ball. Listen, you're indoors. You can't blame weather conditions. You can't blame wind. If you can't get Mac Jones right Thursday night, then maybe he's not the guy, Chris. I don't know. But to win Thursday night, your defense is going to have to come up with 6, 7, 8 sacks.
Oof, 8 sacks. That's
Chris, I think it could be that type of a game because of the way Cousins plays.
So therefore, you don't think they're going to win this game?
No, I don't. I don't. I don't. I think they're going to get. I think it could be a pounding Thursday night. You may be the stuffing for the turkey.
Well,
Thursday
the only
night.
thing I'm a big rule, and you know, no Pats Nation on the night games. We know that we're going to talk about that in a second. But yeah, for me, I don't see them winning this game either. They are right. If the Cousins doesn't do well with pressure, but offensively, I think Minnesota's just too tough on defense.
Yeah,
for them to have any. If they did this against the Jets, 6 sacks, they may have 8 sacks. The only saving grace you may have is Belichick on 3 days versus the coach over there in Minnesota on 3 days. We'll see. But then you have the holiday thrown in there too as an issue, right?
It's going to be interesting.
Getting prepared. So, hey, Pats, the Pats Nation postgame was presented by Corso Catone, the real deal, New England feel. Tune in Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern. And this Saturday, we're going to have our Pats preview talking about the Patriots-Bills game, which will be the following Thursday. And we'll have this Thanksgiving recap talking about the Minnesota game and either surprised or what went wrong. And, of course, for you gambling degenerates, we'll get better. We'll do better. We'll have our Sunday spread for you. And hey, give us a call this week. Give us your locks, 855-313-PATS to the heated hotline. And look,
hey, are we doing? Does that mean we're going to have weekly rewind come back?
Oh, I don't know about that.
You know
maybe
we will have weekly rewind probably because we're going to want to talk about the Minnesota game. And look, as the schedule changes, we change, right?
Yeah.
So the Patriots are now going into a long run of night games, 2 Thursday night games in a row, a Monday night game, a Sunday night game, and we know that you're in no condition to be listening.
And then I think they play like on Christmas Eve. So
Christmas Eve, New Year's Day,
game's gonna be tough.
Hey, listen, people, you enjoy your holidays. We know you're not in any condition to listen to us, at midnight about breaking down these games. So you come back to Corso Catone. Pats Nation is merging in there, and we're going to have our breakdowns and our post-game coverage of all the prior games, the 2 Thursday night games, the Sunday night game, the Monday night game, the Christmas Eve game, the New Year's Day game. Pats Nation will be with you. So stay with us Saturdays, 7 p.m. Eastern. And
hey, happy Thanksgiving, everybody, Chris, this Thursday.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hey, listen, all of you out there, please have a safe and happy holiday. We said it yesterday, right, Joe? Drink responsibly. Okay. Drive responsibly.
We wouldn't want you having to call Corso Law Group to get you out of trouble.
Gamble responsibly, but don't eat responsibly. Do what Mark's going to do. Stuff your face. stuff your face all day long so you can be half asleep for that Minnesota game. But no, everybody stay safe out there. Gentlemen, you both have a wonderful holiday to you and your families as well. And so for Mark Catone, Joe Guarnieri, I'm Chris Corso. Final score in this one, Patriots 10, Jets 3. They improve to 6-4 now. And so we'll see you next Saturday.